Good afternoon. My name is Scott Livingston. I'm the Executive Director of Management Services at OCLC. My team is responsible for our ILSs worldwide and looking at new technologies that might inform how ILSs evolve over time. This afternoon, I wanted to share a couple of ideas we've been playing with in our labs. These are not product ready. These are simply experiments that we're starting to work on to look at how new technologies might be able to affect how libraries offer services moving forward. We get the good fortune of spending many, many hours talking to libraries across the world about how they're using technologies, what they're doing to better serve their users and their researchers. We'd like to continue that conversation this afternoon with all of you, and we'd also like to continue that conversation moving forward. So I wanted to start with a couple of pieces of information that we find incredibly interesting and we think are starting to be indicative of the changes that are going to start to be realized in libraries over the next several years. The first of these is there are over 39 million American households with a digital assistant today. Whether that's Google, Apple, or another one of the voice-activated assistants, 39 million households have these today. The device didn't exist 2 years ago, and already 39 million of us have them in our homes and are using them on a regular basis. What's equally interesting is voice-based searching through mobile devices, phone, virtual assistant, etc., is going to account for over half of all the research being performed by 2020. Over half of all the research activities that a student or faculty member will engage in the next 5 years will be activated by a voice command, not typing on a keyboard. Those are interesting statistics to us as we look at what's happening in the larger world. As we look a little closer at how people are using these devices, we think it's indicative of where technology is going to be going for libraries. The first thing to know is that we listen to music. We ask our voice-automated tools, whether they're our phones or digital assistants, to play music and help us find music, and that is very interesting. The second thing we do is we use it to talk about the weather. Not very interesting, but if you have an Echo Dot at home, as I do, Alexa tells me every morning what the weather's going to be. This is no big surprise, right? But what does that mean for libraries? Well, libraries aren't often in the habit of serving up streaming music. They're not often in the habit of providing weather reports. But what they are in the habit of doing is answering questions. And the third most common use case for these virtual and digital assistants, these voice-activated tools, is asking and answering a question. And that, to us, is incredibly compelling as we think about discovery experiences for libraries of all types and sizes. By 2020, 50% of all searches on the web will be through a voice-activated command. 1 in 2 searches in the next 4 years will be a voice-based command. That's not just in academia, but that's across all sorts of web activity. That sort of user experience is what's going to be assumed to be the normal as students and researchers come into your libraries. If you're a public library, as a patron comes into your library, they're going to expect voice-based technologies as their search mechanism because they're accustomed to doing it on their phone and at home. What does that experience look like? We've done some experimentation, and this is an example of Alexa. We want to show you how that might work.
Hi, my name's Hank Sway. I am a product analyst here at OCLC. And one thing I've been working on is how to integrate our APIs with voice technologies like those from Amazon. So I'd like to show you a little proof of concept about what these services might be able to do. Alexa, ask WorldCat for Ain't We Got Fun?
Ain't We Got Fun by Richard A. Whiting is held by 26 libraries in WorldCat. Would you like more information?
Yes.
This is a musical score for voice and piano, with chord symbols, and, in part with guitar chord diagrams. Songs by Richard Whiting in collaboration with various others.
Great, and I'll just show you one more example. Alexa, ask WorldCat for music by Louis Armstrong.
The complete Louis Armstrong and the Dukes of Dixieland is available at Tulane University on compact disc.
Please give me the address.
Okay, I'm displaying the address on screen.
Great, thank you very much.
It's an example. We're not sure if that's a use case that you'll actually see in your libraries, but it's an example of the way that students may start to interact with these voice-based assistants. And this was built with today's technology. This is not something that we mocked up with Photoshop and we engineered with a movie studio. We have a robust set of APIs that we used with the Alexa developer platform, our search API, our availability API, and our registration API to provide information about holdings, search WorldCat for specific titles, library location and hours. All of that is possible today. Is that something that your students and researchers are going to want? We don't know, but we think there's an interesting conversation there. We think there are other interesting conversations to be had, though, in the area of artificial intelligence. So voice is fantastic, right? Being able to talk to a computer in many ways is much more natural than typing on a keyboard. Having a computer talk back has a lot of implications for accessibility as well as immediacy of information. They're very interesting, but technology has moved well beyond simply voice-based commands into true artificial intelligence. This example is powered by IBM Watson. And what we're looking at here is a student coming in wanting a citation to their science textbook. Watson starts to perform essentially a minor reference interview. What is the name of your textbook? Who is the author of your textbook? Oh, I understand what you're looking for. Here is the item you asked me for. It engages in a very rudimentary reference interview of sorts and provides a citation back to WorldCat. Again, nothing done in movie studios, Photoshop. This is all built on existing technologies using existing APIs. Watson is capable of doing many other things, though. And so this example is looking at helping with a topic-based query. This particular student is looking for something with Shakespeare. I have to do a report on Shakespeare. It's a very sort of normal high school or freshman, sophomore kind of reference question you might get at the library. Well, what are you looking for, right? What is a sonnet? Are you looking for a book about Shakespeare or a book on Shakespeare, right? Are you looking for him as the author or the subject? What are you trying to find here? Gives a definition of what the sonnet is based on its knowledge base, starts to narrow down the results to Shakespearean sonnets, all through an artificial intelligence engine. There is no human being, there's no librarian on the back side of this chat window. It's all powered with our APIs, the data that's resident inside of WorldCat, our central index and our knowledge base, and the power of the Watson AI engine. Again, is this the type of reference interview that you would want to have? Is this the type of reference interview a student would want to have? Is this a utility when you don't have professional staff on site? We have 1,000 questions about whether or not any of this even works, which is why it's not in product today. We think there's a chance for a great conversation. We just want to show some of those conversations today. The last example.
I need to find some materials for my research paper. Can you help me?
Cool. I'm happy to help out. Let's start with subtopics. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking of the health issues caused by substance abuse in U.S. teens.
Okay, that's a good starting point. You might want to take a look at some of these resources here. I would recommend any of the top 3, and those are popularly used resources for research on field.
So you start to think about ways you combine the power of voice-based searching, right? Remember, industry studies suggest that 50% of all web-based searching will be voice-based within the next 4 or 5 years. You append that into an experience that's powered by artificial intelligence. So you're actually having a voice-to-voice dialogue with an artificial intelligence engine to power some ready reference types of experiences. It's a compelling idea conceptually. What we'd like to do moving forward is start to bring some of these out of our labs and start talking with librarians about whether or not these make sense, whether or not these are good experiences, how we might refine, adjust, or change these to meet the evolving expectations of both students and professionals as they're using your facilities. The last component, which I apologize I wasn't able to bring with me because the beauty of labs is we're building, we're in the workshop, it's fantastic. The downside of labs is we're building, we're in the workshop, we're not quite ready, but we're very, very close on artificial reality. Virtual reality. And we are looking at right now a prototype, which we'll be happy to show next time, which allows you to have a book, the physical item sitting on the table, hold your phone over it, and the phone will automatically recognize the book and display bibliographic information about that title. Subject, author, what have you, simply by using the camera on your phone to look at the book. And so we're starting to think about ways that artificial intelligence can combine with voice, can combine with virtual and augmented realities to create new and different experiences that are more efficient, more user-friendly, and meet the emerging needs and expectations of users as we go. Again, none of this in production, no plans for any of this to be in production. As I said, we have 1,000 questions to ask. We'd love 1,000 different answers, but we wanted to give you a sense of some of the things that we're working on in our labs and the things you might be able to expect coming out from organizations like OCLC over the next several years. Thank you very much for your time. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.